The Georgia Bulldogs had numerous players go to the NFL in 2024, and they lost a lot of talent, particularly in the trenches and in the secondary. However, they had some major risers this season and some players who really burst onto the scene in a massive way for the Dogs. One of the biggest risers of the college football season and one of my favorite prospects in the entire draft class is Georgia center Jared Wilson. Wilson had big shoes to fill, with Cedric Van Pran heading to Buffalo, but he stepped up in a major way and has some very intriguing potential at the next level. In an interior offensive line class that isn't super strong, how high could we see Wilson get selected in the 2025 NFL Draft? That is what we will be going over in today's video. But hey guys, if you guys are new to the channel, consider hitting that like and subscribe button. Also, be sure to check out my Patreon page, where for $5 a month, you guys will get exclusive access to my in-depth draft guide with over 450 prospects and scouting reports with my full in-depth big board. There, you guys will find all the information you guys need in order to be successful this draft season. Leave a comment on this video and let me know which prospects you guys want to see in a future episode, and without further ado, let's take a closer look at Jared Wilson. Wilson has been at Georgia for 4 years, but really hasn't seen the field much. In this current era of college football, you expect players to hit the portal and look for playing time elsewhere. But Wilson waited his turn and he made the right decision. He's only played in 1,014 snaps in his career, with a majority of them coming in 2024. But his production throughout his career has been really solid. He has only allowed 9 pressures and 1 sack in his entire career, and I think the upside for him is sky high. There will be concerns about the lack of experience, but what he has put on tape is really impressive. The first thing that really pops out about Wilson is his incredible athleticism. He is one of the most impressive offensive line athletes that I have seen in my short time doing this, and some are speculating that he could break the record for fastest 40 time for a center in NFL Draft Combine history. He is a super impressive and fluid mover for the position who has an uncanny ability to climb the second level with incredible explosiveness and speed. His athleticism alone is reason to buy in on his potential, because athletes that move like this don't come around very often. As a run blocker, Wilson is very solid there. Yes, he's a great athlete and he can lead the runner in space and make blocks, but I really think it goes further than that. He does a very impressive job of blocking with good power. He shows some of that finishing mentality that I always talk about, that I love to see from my blockers. And when you factor that with his quickness, he could be a really dangerous blocker on the move and could be a really interesting piece in wide zone. In pass protection, that's where I really felt like Wilson could be a special type of player. He displays fantastic hand placement and is able to control the reps with his hands, and he knows how to counter pass rush moves, which I loved to see. But I also think his footwork is really impressive. He's light on his feet, and I thought he showed good overall anchor for the position, especially for someone that doesn't have a lot of experience, and I thought his upside in pass protection was really enticing. Wilson does have a couple of glaring weaknesses in his game. For one, I think his play strength is incredibly inconsistent. He had struggles against power rushers from time to time, and I also felt like there were times that defenders easily bounced off of him as a run blocker. I'd like to see him get a little bit stronger at the next level and do a better job of countering power with power. He doesn't really have that in his game right now, and I do think that's something that can come along with reps, but it's just something that he hasn't put on tape yet. Another concern I have is that I felt like he had inconsistent technique. There were a lot of times when it felt like Wilson was lunging or playing off balance, and that has to get better for him at the next level. Once again, it's an issue that I do think can get cleaned up with more reps, but right now, it's not where I'd like it to be for a guy that I think can be a starting center at the next level. Jared Wilson is one of my favorite interior prospects in the entire draft class. Yes, he has limited experience, and his arm length might not be the greatest in the world, and that's a concern some people are having. But I think the tools and athleticism are absolutely phenomenal, and I think he's a very scheme-versatile prospect for you as well. Wilson is a very impressive young player, and he's my number one center in this draft class. The center class is not the strongest in the world, but I think Wilson has separated himself as the top overall guy in this class, and he's my number 2 interior offensive lineman. He's a really good prospect that I don't think is getting the love he deserves in this class. He's my number 65 overall player. In terms of a scheme fit, Wilson is extremely versatile. He has the ability to play in a wide zone rushing attack, one that can tap into his abilities as a run blocker in space to lead his running back and just get in front and absolutely maul people. I think he could be really impactful there, but I also think he brings such a safe floor as a pass protector to where he could play in a heavy air raid offense. I think he could play just about anywhere in the NFL and is a player who I think is going to be a very successful offensive lineman. My player comparison for Jared Wilson is Arizona Cardinals center Hjalte Froholt. Froholt is a really solid athlete who's been a reliable starter on the O-line for Arizona, in both pass protection and in run blocking. He's not the strongest guy in the world, and there have been concerns about his play strength, and I do think Wilson is an overall better athlete, but I think Wilson can and will be a starting caliber center at the next level and has a high floor as a prospect. Jared Wilson is uber athletic. It's hard to find centers who have this type of athleticism and this high of a floor as a pass protector, and he's only played in 1,000 snaps. He's very green as a prospect, and ultimately, I believe that Jared Wilson will be a top 100 pick in the 2025 NFL Draft.